Good day to you, my fellow endoskeletons. I'm Kenetor and welcome back for another Starbase progress report. We're on week 41 of 2021, and if you're new here, I bring the latest news and updates of everything Starbase every Monday. So make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss out. Now let's get to it. I hope you're all hard at work on your Halloween ships for the competition I'm running. If you're not and want to get involved, there's still plenty of time as the submission deadline is the 28th of this month. More details are on my Discord, link below if you're interested. Starbase saw only a small patch to the PTU this week, but it did bring in the new company ships feature. Except it didn't. With the button for it being hidden in a menu you wouldn't expect and being greyed out if you did find it, this feature was a bit of a non-starter. GG Frozen Bite. I guess this is why we have a test universe, but this really should have been picked up by QA. Here's hoping that someone knows what they are doing, puts the button in a more reasonable and easier to find place, and actually turns it on this time. Diving right into our Larry quotes of the week, and we're kicking off with more station info. This time, how ship storage will work. Larry says that we'll start with a limited storage despawn, but we'll eventually get the physical side too, and that approach has the least risks. The number of ships is based on the size of the hangar and the size of the ships. Translated to gameplay, however, this just means we're going to get another big coloured hologram box to our stations. Sticking with stations, Larry drops some important info that safe zone stations can't and won't have passive wealth generation. For those that don't know, later down the line we will get gas collectors that work in the belt clouds and on the moons. And these will work offline and you don't need to be at the station for it to work either. Larry continues, the general idea is that the Atmo pumps harvest the gas or Atmo where it is, and the result is a gas that is a composition of various ores, which then need to be refined and purified and then turned into a solid in order to use. And these only work on outside safe zone stations. This is a great move by the devs, reaffirming the risk reward mechanic and leaving the perma-safe zone for manufacturing and storage only. And one of those things you will manufacture is of course capital ships, and Larry brings us some new info on these too. He said before they will be expandable once they leave the station, and it seems like yes, sadly we are getting the same expansion method as the stations, with Larry telling us the current technical limit is at least 100 build areas, and will likely end up being much more, but we'll start with smaller ones and expand the building rules in smaller increments. My thoughts on this are the same as stations currently. If we're going to be making something as big as stations and capital ships that can get kilometers long, we're going to need an editor, both for symmetry for those that want it, and more importantly, speed of design. I'm fine with stations taking a lot of effort in terms of resources used, but design should not be a hurdle or hindrance like it currently is with stations. But it's not all bad news, as Larry was pushed to give an answer on whether we would see a station designer return to Starbase, and was asked for a definitive answer for this. And Larry answered yes, and the plan was all along to combine easy build mode and the ship designer, but unfortunately went a bit sideways and got delayed with all the issues. Now if you ask me, easy build mode should have started in the designer first, rather than the jank, untested version we got on release. But there is light at the end of this tunnel, as this mode has indeed been started for ships. Once completed, this can be ported to work for both stations and capital ships, at least eventually. I sadly don't see this happening anytime this year though. And for our last quote, Larry was asked if we'll be having any more events or tests again, for which he answers yes. The next test will be done as soon as they have a few major updates to siege tech like final damage numbers and tech and LOD optimizations. The next siege test should include the possibility for real station combat due to the station damage being reduced to the proper damages, with that mainly being explosives only. Sadly, we have a lackluster gallery this week with two very similar images. The first is something we've seen multiple times now, and that is the ship registration deed. But then we have something kind of new, but essentially the same item with a different logo, and this is the hijack deed. More info on that in just a moment, so don't go anywhere. This week's progress report is focused on ship ownership and the various options you have for repairing your ships. And of course we start with the ship registration deed. This seems to be nearly done with just coding left to complete. These will be used to claim decommissioned ships and ships built outside of the designer. Hacked deed. Design and art is in progress, but code has yet to be started. This will let you steal a ship outside of the safe zone as long as the ship owner is not present. The ownership of the ship doesn't change, but it can be sold, freely used and remodeled outside of the designer, but will be marked as stolen when traded and also show the original owner's transponder information. The sell deed is a brand new deed that can be used to sell ownership of a stored ship to another player. Once used on a ship, only the holder of the deed can spawn the ship, which will claim it as theirs in the process. This item is only in design so far. The salvage deed is another item only in design. This will let you sell a ship that is located elsewhere in space, similar to the sell deed, but these work on already spawned ships. However, how this will be useful in locating the ship to be salvaged is yet to be known. And as for salvage, most ships are stripped for parts anyway, so this deed seems somewhat useless so far. Creation of a deed for your ship. This too is only in design, but will include everything from the interface for creation, as well as the rules attached to them, like only having one active deed for a ship, as well as any time limits imposed. Deed information. Deeds will contain relevant information about the ship they have been created for. For example, its status and other details that a potential buyer can review in advance. And lastly for this section, trading the deeds. Again, only in design right now, deeds will be added to the auction house as well as the relevant information being shown in direct trades. Moving on to repairing spaceships now, and we kick off with saving changes to the blueprint. While you don't get access to the blueprint in the editor, every ship stores its own blueprint for repair, but this currently only brings it back to the original purchase form, without any additions or changes that you have made afterwards. This will soon change with this new feature, and it's been one of the most highly requested by the community, with just coding left to complete. Repairing ships by hand. I think this one's just here because it's a valid method, but was completed a long time ago, and simply just uses the build tool to rebuild parts of your ship direct into the blueprint, if you have the resources on hand. Cable and pipe support for the blueprint filler. While design and art complete, coding is not currently being worked on. Cables and pipes were a huge oversight in the blueprint filler feature, but a hugely important one for repairs, and this needs to be finished ASAP. Ship repair shop, another big important feature to fix up your ship as good as new. A fly-in service to restore your ship to its either original state or one of the saved states of the blueprint for the cost of just ore and a small fee. Repair terminals at player stations. Of course, we need some sort of feature parity for player stations, and repairing is no exception. This will be a new repair terminal that will be set up for use in hangar halls when we get them, although no word on whether this fee will be removed since you own the station, but otherwise will function similar to the repair shops that will come to the dev stations. And lastly, ships towing ships. We've seen this mentioned before, and this will bring a new device specifically for towing ships. This is still in design with art and coding not yet started. But the question remains, why not just fix the current methods we have to do this instead of adding a new device? We've been shown many times over the course of development these current methods were meant for ships too, and now suddenly they aren't, and we need a new device. And to finish us off for this week, the Planemaster Cody has shared a collection of 20 ship blueprints which cover most of his creations. This is really nice of him to do so, and I'm sure there's plenty for people to learn from these ships. So check out the link below to learn more and get some free designs. Don't forget you're free to come drop by my Discord or chip in to support the channel via Donormarks or YouTube memberships. All my monthly supporters are listed at the end of my videos and all get access to my supporter channel on my Discord. As always, please smash that like button, share this video with your friends and faction, leave a comment with any questions you want answers to, and I'll see you in the next one. Kenetor, out.